Hello, my friends. Welcome back. My name is Drake, and this is Touching the Edge. So glad to be here with you today. So glad to be here to support and to ask for your support. So let's take that breath in and a nice sigh. Just let go. Let go of the need for perfection. Eyes opening. Again, so happy to see you today, and I just love connecting with you. And one of the things that occurs to me, just popped in my head, was a few years ago when I was applying for a job and I needed to get my transcripts from my college. So I called back to my college and I asked them to send me the transcripts. You know, I've done it a number of times throughout my life, and they said they could send it to me digitally. So they asked me when I had graduated, which was in 1986. And the woman goes, over the phone, she goes, "Oh." And I go, "What's the problem?" She goes, "Well, we don't have digital records that far." It felt like, she was talking like, you remember Indiana Jones when they had to go into this big warehouse and these dusty old, records, and it felt like I was before time. And so it's just funny to me. It also it just reminds me of my childhood growing up in the 60s. I was a small child in the 60s, and for those of us who, at that time, I know it's true for a lot of us, we were placed in front of TVs. The TVs were our babysitters, TV shows like Batman and Mission Impossible and all those shows, and they kind of set up my relationship to pop culture, And so it's interesting to me. I remember Gilligan's Island, and in Gilligan's Island, which was a, excuse me, which was a show here where a group of people got lost on a desert island, and they had all these misadventures, silly little adventures. And one of the things that would happen occasionally is a storm would come through, a hurricane. And in the midst of the hurricane, the lead character, Gilligan, would grab a palm tree, and the wind would blow so hard that his body would be pulled horizontal, but he would hold on to that tree. That tree anchored him. He was able to stay on the island because he was able to hold on to that tree. So I want to suggest that we all need that palm tree. We all need an anchor in the storm. And so I want to suggest to you to consider, what is your primary anchor in the storm? If the chips are down and if you get knocked to your knees, what would be that thing that you would adhere to? What would be the practice or the situation that would keep you grounded? I want to suggest that you don't just let it happen accidentally, that you already know what your anchor will be in those situations. For me, I use a whole host of different practices, and I suggest many practices to my clients. But I think it's important to have one primary practice, one primary thing in your moment of truth that you'll go to. And one of those things, the thing for me, the very powerful, most peak thing I got from the practice of Advaita Vedanta. Now, that's a part or an element of Hinduism. The most important or most well-known saint of that, or teacher of that background, is Ramayana Maharishi. Now he really focused in this idea of inquiry. So, really asking ourselves questions without preconceived notions. Asking yourself, who am I? Who are you? What is your central identification? Are you an American? I mean, if you get down to the lowest layers of your central identification, are you, your religion? Are you your sex or your sexual orientation? What do you think of as the ground of your being? And so I think it's important to recognize that. My root teacher, who's also of that philosophical background, his name was Nisargadatta Maharaj, he focused on that sense of being. So my root teaching, the thing I rely on when all else fails for me, is just to sit with that phrase, I am. That is the root that I hold on to during the storm. I am. I just say it in the back of my mind, and don't wait till the big moments of your life to apply that process. Say it in the moments in between when nothing really big is happening. I am. Your ability to focus on subtlety in the midst of intensity is self-mastery. When you can focus on your pure experience of being in the midst of a very powerful emotion, because isn't that what happens? You get really, really angry and you forget everything. But if you are able to say the phrase I am and connect to the birds singing or the clouds, even when something big is happening, you will develop an openness of heart which connects you to genius, to innovation, and you will find answers unexpected. Connect with that phrase I am. And when you are very, very ill, even in the last moments of your life, just keep breathing into it. I am. As all else falls away, just say that phrase, I am. And when you say that phrase and connect with it, you will recognize that you are enough in your pure being, and you will find solutions that you did not expect. So thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for going down memory lane. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. Here we go. In essence, this phrase I am is our connection to unconditional love. I am does not have a preconceived notion for who you are. It accepts you as you are. I bring my hands into prayer position and I bow to you. Namaste. Thank you. Have a wonderful day today.